What if I told you the most powerful man in history feared himself more than war, poverty, or death? That he spent 19 years fighting an enemy no sword could touch, his own darkest temptations? This is the untold story of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, who mastered the art of living. And buried in his 2000-year-old journal are rules for life so brutal, so shockingly relevant, they'll make you question everything about modern existence. Stoicism isn't about stone-faced indifference. It's a rebellion against the chaos of desire, the tyranny of circumstance, and the weakness of the human spirit. At its core, it teaches that the wise man, the good man, doesn't just endure life. He commands it, not through force, but through alignment with nature's unbreakable laws. And no one embodied this rebellion more fiercely than Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, guardian of a dying empire, and a man who stared into the abyss of absolute power and chose to walk backward into the light. The man who ruled the world. When Marcus inherited the throne in 161 AD, the Roman Empire stretched from the deserts of Syria to the misty highlands of Scotland. To his subjects, he wasn't just a king, was a god in human form, answerable to no one. Previous emperors had drowned in this power. Caligula declared war on the sea. Nero burned Christians as garden torches. Hedonism wasn't just expected, it was a ritual. Yet Marcus rejected it all. Cold baths instead of perfumed spas, simple robes instead of silk, nights writing in his journal instead of feasting. Why? Because he believed true power wasn't over others, it was over yourself. The journal never meant to be read. Meditations isn't a manifesto, it's a confession. Scribbled in military tents and palace corridors, its 12 volumes have no structure, no grand lessons, just a man arguing with his own soul. You could be good today, he writes, but instead you choose tomorrow. Imagine that, the most feared leader on earth, haunted not by enemies, but by his own inadequacy. He never called himself a philosopher, he called himself a work in progress, and in those pages he weaponized humility. Throw away your opinions and you'll be saved. But who's stopping you? The Stoic Trinity: nature, duty, death. Marcus's philosophy rests on 3 pillars. Live according to nature. A tree doesn't try to grow. A river doesn't struggle to flow. They simply obey their design. Humans, Marcus believed, are designed for virtue, not as a moral luxury, but as a biological imperative. What's bad for the hive is bad for the bee, he wrote. To betray kindness or courage wasn't just wrong, it was unnatural. A violation of your very DNA. Your duty is your freedom. The Romans worshipped pietas duty to gods, country, and family. But Marcus radicalized it. For him, duty was a cage that set you free. You don't love yourself enough, he admits, or you'd love your nature and what it demands of you. Even toward those who wronged him, his duty was clear. When someone hates you, eat breakfast. Walk your path. Let them keep their hate. Death as a gift. Modern self-help sanitizes death. Marcus weaponized it. You could leave life right now, he whispers. Let that decide what you do, say, and think. To him, mortality wasn't a tragedy, it was a deadline. A deadline to stop complaining, start living, and stop acting like you're a rock being dragged by the river. The forbidden truth about adversity. Marcus didn't just face political schemers or barbarian hordes. He buried 8 children, watched plague erase entire cities, endured a co-emperor, Lucius Verus, whose incompetence nearly bankrupted Rome. Yet, in Meditations, he thanks the universe for these tests. Why? The impediment becomes the path, he insists. Fire tempers steel, storms strengthen roots. Your worst moments aren't obstacles, they're the only way to meet the person you're meant to become. Wealth, without wanting. Marcus could have owned palaces of solid gold. Instead, he slept on a military cot. Not because he hated luxury, but because he feared the hunger for it. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, he warned. Obsess over money, and you'll shrink into a scavenger. Obsess over virtue, and you'll outgrow your cravings. His rule? Let your possessions terrify you. If losing a thing would break you, you never owned it, it owns you. Why we've forgotten Marcus, and why we need him. Today, we're drowning in comfort, yet starving for meaning. Algorithms feed our rage. Luxury isolates us. Marcus's answer: go inward, The fountain of good is inside you. No affirmations. No shortcuts. Just a daily war against weakness. He didn't win every battle. Meditations is littered with doubt. I'm still a hypocrite, still impatient, still afraid. But he kept fighting. And that's the forbidden truth. Greatness isn't perfection. It's refusing to surrender the fight. The empire fell. The journal survived. Because the enemy Marcus fought the human hearth hasn't changed. The throne he sat on? You're sitting in it. Every day, you're emperor of your choices. So ask yourself, when temptation comes, when the world burns, will your journal be a record of excuses or proof that you lived? Until next time, amor fati. Love your fate, even when it terrifies you.